Okay, so this is going to be a walkthrough of exercise 1. And this is basically conforming to orthographic projection to third angle. So this shape is all about using some of the tools that you learnt in exercise 1, which will link back to exercise 0 with lines, circles, offsets, using the layering system, and maybe using one or two other tools just to help you break it down, such as mirror, and using the crosshatch as well. So this particular exercise, we're going to start it off in 3 parts. So the first part, what I'm going to do is in blue, I'm just going to focus on this object first. I'm going to treat my x and y as 0, 0 down here. And I'm going to come all the way up to 100, 60. So you should see these appear on the screen. So I've got my 0, 0 and my 100 by 60 rectangle. So like exercise 1, okay, that's the first point. I'm going to start with this shape. So I'm going to open up a new drawing, wait for it to load in. And as before, I've already taken the time to find x and y, and I've already taken the time to find and define my layers. So, like exercise 1, rectangle 0, 0 and 100, 60 to place my rectangle. That's like what we got just on the screen there. I'm going to zoom in, pan, use a scroll wheel on my mouse to zoom in to make sure I'm happy with the view. So what I'm going to need to do is I want to break this drawing down, really, is that it does have 2 lines of symmetry. So there's a line through the middle across the x-axis. There's a line through the middle under the y-axis. So to make my life easier, what I'm actually going to do is only draw this section here. So I'm going to draw one circle. I'm going to start to draw some of the lines and mirror this around. So on my drawing, what I'm going to do is I'm going to build 2 construction lines. So I'm going to get to my construction layer. And what I'm going to do is going to lock on now 2 areas of the midpoints. I'm going to come to a snap and make sure midpoint is turned on, which it is in this case. I'm just going to draw 2 lines from the midpoints, which is here to the edge. Make sure snaps turned on, escape, space to reload. Find the midpoint again, like so, and just go back to my drawing layer. So then I'm going to be drawing in that particular area. So I need to explode my rectangle into 4 lines. I'm going to go to EXP for explode. That's now going to turn into my rectangle into 4 individual lines. So I can use the offset tool now to start to drive that particular area. So using the drawing below, we can see that the first section is 30. So this area from here to here is 30. And the next section is 10. So there's going to be 10, and the last section will be 10 because it's half of the overall section, which was forms 20. So I'm going to go back quite simply, what I'm going to do is use the offset tool, pick up this line here. So I'm going to use 30, pick up this line, offset that one to the right hand side, escape to cancel, space to reload 10. That's going to form my inner section. And lastly, if I do number 10, it should overline my middle line, which I don't actually need to put in because I already have my center point. And on the drawing, that line doesn't exist, it's only a constructional value. Next, you'll notice on the screen that the circle drops down from this red line to the center point. It drops down 15. So do another offset here, 15 down, which is going to form the base of my circle, and it also forms 15 within the 30. So because I've picked up 2 lines on the drawing layer, what I'm actually going to do is highlight both of these lines. I'm going to change them to construction. And because they might get a bit confused, what you can do is on the construction layer, go to this object by layer here in the properties bar. You could actually make them a different color, but they still represent the construction layer. So when you turn these ones off, it all turns off together, like so. So it's still associated, but just not the same color for ease. Next one, circle. Click on the center point of those 2 objects, the intersection point in my drawing layer, and these are going to be 15 mil radiuses. Okay, so that will spend out on that one because of when you click in 15, it will go and fill the whole shape. So it's actually diameter of 15. So come back in. So when you come in, most people just now hit the delete key, redo the circle, and that way, if you actually right click, properties, come into diameter, which will now appear in the properties bar, change that to 15, click off to accept, it will then redo the shape, and then I can just close the properties bar like so. So that's given us the first circle and the corresponding elements. Now what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to map that circle across. So what I'm going to do is going to go to annotate. I'm going to pop in my center mark, so I'm going to just need to do it once rather than 4 times. It's being lazy. Now I go to home. I'm going to mirror this. Use the mirror tool, circle and the crosshead. You hit enter to confirm this. I'm going to choose the center point of my rectangle. Push up. I'm going to choose the top of my shape. Now, because I haven't quite clicked on the bottom, if I click there now, it's going to give me a non-even. Make sure you hit no if you don't want to remove. So when you do use the mirror tool, you've got to make sure that you are on the correct snap points. So let me try that again. Come down, center point, and then upright to the top point. That's better. Raise original source, no. And I've got that one in there as well. You could have actually mirrored those 2 at the same time as well. So what I'm going to do is choose those both. Go back to mirror. Click the center point again. If you go down, you can also use the same latch in, as long as it's on the same line. Keep the original shape, no. So now I'm going to choose those 2 again, and these 2. What I'm going to do is mirror this around my other center line. that side and that side. Razor source, no. Now I'm going to turn off my construction line. I have that exact shape that I had before. So that's the first element that I have, and I've got these other two drawings which I can add in. So this is now the top angle. This is my front angle. So top angle here. This is my front angle. This is my side. So I'm going to just sort of write that down for a note. So number 1, top. Number 2 is my front. Number 3 is my sides. This is like a third 3-shot drawing of a 3D object. So what I'm going to do now is focus on the second part. So I'm going to focus on this part here, and I'm going to use the references from my top element just to make sure everything's fine. So on my drawing, okay, what I'm going to do is turn my construction lines back on. I'm going to go into the construction element, and I'm going to offset from the center. I'm going to offset around 70. So this is set at 30. I'm going to go 70 down just to make myself a nice gap. Then what I'm going to do is then offset that one again. So when I go back to the drawing, the height here is going to be 20 and a 20 to 40. So escape space 40. Drop that one down again. That's given me the front view of my shape. Then I'm just going to go a line from here back to 0, 0, just to know I'm on the right plane. Now, if I do an offset, I'm going to do 30 again, and this should marry up with the 30 above. I'm going to offset 20 after, no, sorry, 10 first, then the 20. 10, which match over 10. 10 should then get me to the center point. 10 should then get me to the other side, so that bridge the 20. 10 back, and then it should be 30, so I'm going to be lazy here and just click 3 times rather than reload and load the command in. Sort of build a bit of a grid system. Then what I'm going to do, because I don't actually need the first 3, I'm just going to trim those out like so, and then trim out the center points like so. I'd actually need those ones. Last thing to do, offset 20 to form the center line. Like so, and then now I have enough to build my shape. So go back to drawing. Can use the polyline here to start from this bottom left hand corner. Come up, come across, come up again. Bridge the first elements. I'm going to zoom in to make my life a bit easier. Now on the technical drawing, this is where there is an element here of 10. This is this little drop down. So we're going to make sure that we put that 10 in. I didn't put a reference line in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to latch on to a snap point. I know it's going to intersect, put 10 in. That'll then drive it halfway. And again, find a snap point, mirror off that. I'm going to pull it further than what I need it to be. Locking it to 90, hopefully. And just accept more than that line. Then go back to polyline again. Start on the edge of the object where it intersects. Push up. Push out to the 10. Pull down to the edge. Down to the base. And then back to home. Start again. And then once I'm happy, enter to confirm. And just trim down the edge. TR for trim. And there we go. If I turn off the construction lines, I've got that element of my shape. Like so. So last one to do, I'm going to do possibly a 20mm gap between the edge shape. So I'm just going to drag this along using the same reference point again. I'll do 20 because I can always add 2 to make 40 if it's not big enough. Fine. Now on the drawing, I've got to cover the width. Now when you read this drawing, you think, well, there is no width stated. Now, but because this is going to be the side view, is actually referenced to this 60 here. So this is going to be 60 long. So again, I'm going to click on this shape, offset, and I put 60 in. Okay, now it was set to 20 originally, so what I'm going to do is just double check this is actually 60, it's not 20. So I'm going to delete that one off, offset. It's always good to check if you think actually I've made a mistake rather than carrying on, because you can end up having big mistakes, like so. Escape that one. Now, because it is basically a rectangle, I've got my 2 starting points, so I can go bottom left to the top right, like so. Enter that bit. Now, if you notice, I haven't actually managed to click on the edge because my computer is slightly lagging. Move that corner over. So I'm going to perform a stretch on the node. Move that corner over, like so. Let's form the basis of my rectangle. And I have a line for the side profile in the middle. That's going to map across from this section here. Like so. And that's formed the edge. Then what you could do is you could start to implement the hidden detail. So I'm going to come across, use my hidden layer, and I'm going to use a slightly brighter color because it's grey on black. So I'm just going to change my layer color. So I might go for, I'm just going for pink, magenta. So again, line tool, so I'm going to latch on to this element here, run it across. So make sure you're on the snap point, run it across. Sometimes you might have to hold shift if you can't, you've got the right snap turned on, like so. Now what I'm going to do is just trim this, the TR, trim through the left hand edge, trim through the right hand edge, enter, and then I'm just going to delete that one because I don't need it. So I've got that first element in there. Next, I need to think about the circles. On the side views, I can see the circles. So again, if you've got a construction line, you could drag it down. So I could actually drag this one all the way past the point, hold down shift. I don't think I locked that to 90. HAR. You need to trim just to knock it back if you wanted to. The other way to do that is then offset because you want to form both sides of the circle. We know it's 15. 15 divided by 2, 7.5 if you're not very good at maths. Left side, right side. That should be, if it should work by matching the two. Again, line tool. Match onto the top. Match on the bottom. Again, just make sure the snap points are lined up because my computer's not lagging a bit today. Like so. You always zoom in and check if it's wrong, just pick up the grip. Move back to the point that you're happy with, and you probably find that my top's out as well. Like so, and you can also put that in place. So once you're happy, again, you could collapse the construction lines. You could then do a mirror. Use these two objects, mirror it around the center of the shape. Like so, erase original, no. Again, you have those elements there. You could then do a copy. You could then turn around and copy those two. You could choose it from a set distance. You copy it across. Pick up the midpoint somewhere. So I'm going to go about there. It's not exactly the right place yet, but what I'm now going to do is do a line from this section here because it is going to be 15. Do a line of 15. Like so, and then I'm going to do one final line. Corner to corner. And then what I should be able to do if I select all of these is pick up the center node, match it to the center point of that over the line I've just created. Okay, run it up. Put it in the intersection, and then that's the correct piece. And all you have to do is just delete anything you've used as part of the construction. Like so. I can then mirror that once again around the center point. Freeze original, no. Then when I zoom out, I've got my parts now that match my drawing. So all I would then do now is start to use the linear tool and start to run round and dimension everything up. So again, have a go, break the drawing down, and let me know how you get on.